Welcome back to Whitt Acres. I recently found out that I'm going to be able to get goats this year, and they're going to be ready in just 3 weeks, but I have nothing ready. So today, we're going to be getting ready for the goats. With any animal, you need 3 basic necessities: feeder, water, and shelter. So today, we're going to be taking care of those 3. Whenever I go to build something, I always look around the property to see if we have anything that I can make work for my needs. And I've had this IBC Tote sitting up behind the pergola garden, but I haven't had any clue on what to use it for. It had some metal cleaner or something in it, so I didn't want to use it for the rainwater harvest or any water for the animals. But I'm rolling it out from behind the garden today so I can actually make use of it as a feeder and a shelter for the goats. I came across a couple channels. More Than Farmers was one that I liked, how he made the feeder, so I'm going to be using kind of his way, as well as the Family Adventurer. He had a nice one with the shelter and the IBC Tote, so I'm going to be kind of combining both of those and using that for my needs. So to make this into a hay feeder and a shelter, I'm going to take these 2 bars off, get the tank out of there, and then I'm going to be cutting the metal in a way that I can bend it together and create the hay feeder. And then I'm going to be cutting the tote into a shelter for the animals. I don't think this should take too long. I'm hoping to get it done before dark whenever I have to go close the barn up. We're getting a little bit longer days now, so I'm going to get started and then we'll walk you through it. Come, puppy, you ready to work? You ready to work? Let's do it. I'm going to need a sawzall with a metal blade as well as a torque bit to get these things off. So I'm going to press my finger against it. Now I got the size. I'm going to head to the garage before it disappears, and I should have the right size torque bit. Let's see if that works. Oh, nailed it. We're going to be keeping those for later. Okay, I don't know, he can't see me. All right, so my plan is to cut out all 4 corners as well as the bottom 6 posts here on this side and the opposite side. And then I'll be squeezing those together, and then after that we'll be adding some extra support. All right, well, I screwed up immediately by cutting this top rail here. So that's not what you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to cut the bottom ones out of here and leave the whole top rail intact. So I'm gonna have to try and figure out a way to fix that. All right, well, I'm not only competing with the sunset, but it is trying to rain right now as well, and my phone died. So I had to charge my phone for a little while I was trying to figure out how to fix this mistake up here. So cutting the box, my very first cut was the wrong cut because you don't want to mess with the top ring because that was the entire support for the whole thing. So I'm going to try and fix that. My plan is to use one of these leftover corner pieces that came out of this spot to go along inside here and bridge that gap, and then I'm going to bolt it in place. I'm going to bolt this in place as well as add some more support down lower, so I think that's going to be strong enough for the goats. wind is picking up and it's getting darker. All right, we are almost to the finish line. It is actually a lot stronger now that I got that piece of pipe in there. That's just a leftover piece of conduit that I had just lying around. I didn't even have to cut it or anything. That's just how long it was. I put these hose clamps on it to hold it, and I'm leaving it stick out a little bit just in case it slides. So I'm much more of a woodworker than I am a metal worker. So whenever I have to attach all this metal together, instead of drilling holes through all these metal bars here and bolting each area together, I just used all these hose clamps, wrapped it around the joints here, and then I used bigger ones to wrap it to the actual support beam there. So I have 3 holding the cage together and 2 holding it to the support, and it's a pretty strong structure right now. Now some people will cut the bottom out of that tote and throw the bottom of the tote in there, but I'm not really seeing a reason to do that. This already has holes all through it and it's a bottom, so I really don't need to capture the hay any more than this is going to do that already. But I do want to cut the top of that off and use it as a lid to keep a lot of the rain off. The wind's picking up and it's getting darker out there. It hasn't rained at all yet, but I am running out of sunlight. Hey pup. I also drilled into my wrist, which that's actually starting to bleed. I got the structure pretty much made now. I just have to add those cross supports back up here to add a little bit more support. I might have to loosen this because I don't know if they're going to fit with this being at an angle like that. So I'll have to see how that works. I am going to cut off all these extra pieces of metal here. I probably should have done that first, but I wasn't sure how it was going to all fit together. I'm going to take the Sawzall and buzz all those off. So they don't fit. Was I supposed to put them on first? Probably supposed to put them on before bending it. We did it. We're back to where we started. Okay, now that the feeder is made, I can cut the top of this tank off to make the lid for the feeder to keep the rain off of it. And then I'll have the rest of the tank to make the shelter out of. Oh, this is a bad saw, it's smoking. But I'm gonna try and get one more job out of it. Not gonna do it. Battery out. The second Ryobi circular saw I burned up. I'm gonna have to finish it off with a DeWalt. It's not the same hand, like the saw's on this side of the Ryobi. DeWalt's got the saw on this side. A little different. Now I just need to add some hinges to this lid so I'll be able to pivot it, lift it up, add the hay, and drop it back down. I'll probably even add a latch as well. Echo Pup is chilling down at the beach. He loves laying in the sand. Good boy, Pup. Well, I didn't beat the rain, but I did find some brass chain. And brass chain's kind of soft, so you don't want to actually hang too much from it, so it'll work nicely as these hinges. I'm just going to put a hole through here and wrap this chain and use this clasp. I wouldn't use this clasp, like I wouldn't go out and buy this, but I have it, so it's going to work for what I need. Just make a circle, and that's going to be the hinge. So I need to put a hole in the plastic. Might be a little loose. I could probably go a lot shorter than that. Well, the rain's starting to come down now, and I still need to make a latch and cut a door into that shelter. It is raining now, but I think I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish today. I got the feeder made. It's pretty much done. I threw that piece of plastic from cutting the door out in the middle there because one of the guys that built theirs said that whenever they were trying to eat the hay, it would sometimes push to the other side and they wouldn't be able to bite it. So he put a divider in to give them something to push against to be able to get a good bite of hay. So that's iffy if I'm going to be having to put that in there. Now the shelter is just going to be a temporary shelter while they're small, and during the night I'll probably even take them up into the barn if it's going to be cold, because we still will have some cold months here before the weather changes and turns into spring. So I am planning on building an actual larger structure out of wood up behind the barn for the goats to stay in during the summer, but this will just be a nice temporary shelter to have them in whenever they're small. And then if we have any really cold nights, I'll just bring the goats right into the barn and they'll be perfectly fine inside the barn. And for water, I'm probably just going to use a rubber bowl until that becomes a problem. And after that, I'll figure something out. So make sure to subscribe down below and see all the different projects that I'm going to be doing this summer. I will be pressure washing these off and cleaning them all up before I actually use them. If I knew this was only going to take one day, I'd be able to get it done rather quickly, and the goats are coming before the meat chickens. So this was a little bit more important to get done. And now I can get back to work on the chicken tractor. That's all for this one. If you want to see some more from Whitt Acres, I have 3 other YouTube channels. Check them out in the description down below, as well as my website with a bunch of nature-inspired designs. You can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching.